Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Scope. And now, here are your hosts, Jared, Adam, and Shane. Hey out there, Scopers. Episode 161.
161.
We're trucking along
On our way to 200.
into the new year, 2014. Promising to be a great year for us, Adam.
Yeah?
Especially you, though. I think big things are in store for you.
Is that true? What do you know?
I just have a vibe about it. But before we look forward to what's happening in the upcoming 365 days, I thought it would be appropriate if we take a look back at what happened to us in the year 2013. So the next couple of episodes...
You're still holding on to that, huh? 2013. Will you ever buy into the 2013, 2014?
I don't really think
2015?
I don't really think about it. I've got bigger fish to fry in my life.
Well,
Do you think 100 years ago they said 1,913?
I definitely, without question.
I think so.
Being in my time machine proved it.
Well, they were more proper back then, too.
Yeah, so what would they say?
In the year of our Lord, 1,913?
there we are.
Yeah.
Ade Dinamo.
They were big Latin speakers.
Yeah.
then.
Shane, you'll switch in the year 2020.
Absolutely.
That'll because I mean,
And the scope will be there to prove it and show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost there, guys.
The company that will bring it to you is AT&T.
So what happened?
Tom Selleck told me so.
Absolutely. So what happened to us, we had a lot of crazy things happen in the month of December for us, which kind of, I don't know if it was crazy, but just real life things. Jared went on a vacation.
I did.
Adam was...
I went on a vacation, too.
Went on a vacation. I got really sick for a number of weeks, and it just it didn't work out.
I got sick this week. It was awesome.
Were you really sick this
I wasn't
week?
at work Thursday. I don't know if you noticed. Were you off?
I was off, so I
You didn't even notice. You didn't even know. Yeah, I fell sick New Year's Day. Had a cold, and I was out of work on Thursday and made it back in Friday.
Too much partying.
Too much partying.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know.
But we had all these great ideas for end of the year wrap up type stuff, and it didn't happen. And the scope never wasting anything. We're going to use those shows for the next couple episodes. So this episode, we're going to tell you what we did on our winter break. Anything notable that will include vacations. It will include holidays. It will include New Year's resolutions. Maybe some. Can we talk YouTube issues, Jared? Is that on the? Can we speak of that in general, very general terms?
Sure.
We'll
talk it in general terms.
I think it's of interest. We won't name names.
Yeah, I mean, it was
that.
something that happened in December.
It was a bit of drama for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will cover that as well, and I'm sure all of you out there will be very, very excited to hear those tales. So that's the story. And beyond that, we're also going to be doing a Coming Soon and Hit It or Miss It. That has not left us in the year 2014.
Probably still doesn't have a sounder, though. just going to warn you guys in advance.
Part of our upgrades for 2014, we're not there yet, but it will happen.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. So let's stop gabbing now. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll gab after that break. Thanks for listening, guys.
We're gabbing?
We're gabbing.
Yeah, after this.
After this.
This is The Fump.
And I said, no, I don't play them no more. Those Facebook games are really a bore.
Britney Spears is gonna freeze her head.
Take me down to the Vatican City where the nuns get none and the priests get pretty.
Is it good or is it sick? She puts the rotten erotic. 'Cause she's my zombie girl. I love her.
I guess it was Titanic Monday. Got frozen.
He's
Having a colonoscopy because he's over 49.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay, then we'll move on. The next one's really wacky.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Subscribe this January and get 1 month free, plus a USB drive with all of 2013's music on it.
Sweet.
Hey, Scopers. Episode 161. pushing forward.
They're cheering for us.
They love us. Episode 161, pushing forward as we look back.
Thought of that all yourself?
Yes. At the end of the year 2013. Yes,
Thank
I
you.
said
I appreciate it.
2013.
I
Jared
appreciate
loves me again.
It's all it takes.
So let's, Jared, let's start with the biggest controversy of 2013 for
More of
us.
a controversy.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it in the British
Aluminium.
style.
Yes.
And I don't even know
It's an aluminium controversy. See, I couldn't even do it.
No.
Go on.
I don't know if Adams was even too aware of what was going on, other than a couple of
Keep going. I just want your pen.
He wants
Your pen. There we are. Is that what you call it?
it's a pin.
He doesn't know the whole word.
Yeah. So I may have given Adam a little bit of information, but I don't think that you did. But I would say midway through December of 2013, we had some issues.
It was immediately after. It was the morning after we had seen the screening of American Hustle.
One of the hottest movies in the year, Jared.
If you want to pin it down to an exact date.
I love it.
Yes.
So why don't you talk our fans, our listeners, through what happened in very general terms? Because I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to make a mockery or get us into trouble. So
Okay.
Go for it.
So, as you know, on the as part of the podcast, we have these movie reviews, and we've been calling them instant movie reviews. Correct?
Yes. And why do we call them an instant movie review?
Because as soon as we see the screening, we go out in the car and we record our review immediately.
That's
instantaneous.
Our instant feedback results.
Essentially, the name is exactly what it is. It's not meant to be anything more than that.
So one Tuesday morning, I get up, I go on my computer, as is my habit, and I check up on the activity on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
And I noticed that every single one of our reviews, our instant movie reviews, has a copyright claim against it. And they're not deleted outright, but they're definitely not available to anyone. And this is different than a content ID match. A content ID match is just where you have some media in your video that matches their algorithm. You get a content ID match, but it's not a copyright claim. They don't take it down. It's just that you can't monetize it. Whoever owns whatever content you matched can monetize it.
Sure.
Typically, this was a copyright claim. And they did it in 2 batches, so we had 2 strikes against us. So you only get 3, and even if you get 1, your channel becomes severely restricted. So this was a problem for us.
Yeah,
we weren't going to be able to upload any longer form videos, anything longer than 15 minutes. I think we could still monetize, but there were a lot of other restrictions, and so panic immediately sets in.
Yep.
I'm like, what's going on here? What did we do? And I'm thinking, how have we infringed on anything? I mean, this is all fair use. The only thing that could technically be claimed from a copyright standpoint would be, the movie poster that we use in the graphics.
And YouTube didn't tell you what the
YouTube doesn't tell you. That's
the rub right there.
Well, YouTube doesn't tell you, and part of the problem is this is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in action, I should say, where YouTube is required by law to just take it down. If anyone makes a copyright claim, valid or not, they just take it down, I guess, so that no further infringement or damage can be done while further action takes place. So we had a couple options we could do. We could wait it out. These things go away after 6 months.
Yep.
The strikes go away. We could what is it called? Counter notification. I think we could basically say for each video, no, we don't believe this is a copyright claim. We think we have it wrong.
Yep.
And then
you fight back, essentially.
You fight back, but what that does is now it exposes you to legal
Yep.
action from the claimant, because you have to fill in all your proper information, and you're basically saying, I, under oath of law, say that this is not copyright. You are incorrect, and now it's on the person to. Usually it takes, I think, couple weeks for the counter notices to get processed through YouTube, and if there's no pushback from the other party, then usually from what I hear, it gets cleared up and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get a lot of YouTube channels have been in a situation where you just have copyright trolls who just claim it things that they don't own.
They're looking for
trouble. They're looking for trouble. They're looking for someone to kind of basically bite the hook and maybe try to pay some money. I don't know what they're trying to do, but in this case, it was a weird thing. It didn't feel like the entity that had claimed these things had any sort of legitimate claim over the content itself.
You forgot to tell them tell the fans that I did some internet sleuthing. Remember,
Yes.
because we didn't really know what was going on. So
Right.
and I don't even know how I stumbled upon it, but I started. I think you gave me the name of who was claiming this.
Yeah.
And then I just started digging around, and it eventually popped up that they had something called
Instant movie review.
Instant movie
They had
review.
done a show similar in concept with the name, and that turned out to be the reason why they had claimed it. Now I had consulted with a couple of we have a friend who is an intellectual property lawyer. I also
doesn't hurt, Adam.
I also consulted our in-house attorney at my job, and just, see what my options are and what the risks might be. And
Did you just want to be able to yell lawyer at one point?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to make sure that because I had already sort of figured out what my plan of action was going to be, but I wanted to make sure that course of action wasn't foolhardy and exposing me to trouble. So what I ended up doing was just contacting the company. I mean, you get the name and the email address of the person who claimed it. So I just reached out to them and said, hey, YouTube doesn't tell us why these are claimed.
What's
Can
going
you
on
can
here,
you
bro?
tell us why? And then I just started a dialogue, and basically you agreed that we would change the name, no longer use it, and they retracted all of the claims, and we got all our stuff back, and strikes went away, and everything's golden again.
I mean, for us, it doesn't really matter because, like I said earlier in the show, the only reason it's named that is because that's what it is.
Right.
Right. It'd be like saying the Scope movie review. I mean,
we don't have any significant branding around that, and I think that the direction we've gone now, which is I've sort of branded it as kind of a similar but separate show almost. It's like I now started branding them as Under the Scope.
That's what it is.
Because that's what it is. That's the music we use. It was always a offshoot of the Under the Scope segment of the show anyway. So now it's just Under the Scope, movie review, TV review, whatever. No use of instant. Don't need it.
No.
I think the brand is actually stronger now going forward. So
I'm glad we didn't get those tattoos we had talked about.
Oh gosh, that would have been trouble. So anyway, that's the story. A little bit of a copyright scare that turned out to be, I guess in my view, not legitimate, but in the end, it is what it is, and this is the stuff you have to go through if you're doing a content empire as we are.
I mean, let's be honest. We do our show for fun. It's not something where we take it as seriously as others, and probably the claimants take their show a little bit more seriously, even if they haven't done an instant movie review in over a year. And the reality is that they probably saw it by Googling instant movie review and found out that our stuff was coming up ahead of theirs because it's more current. Yeah. So I mean that would be my absolute guess. Otherwise, you'd never know what it was. You'd never be able to find anything like that. It's not whatever. So whatever. It's not a big deal. All of our reviews are still up for people to watch.
Yeah, and I think if they wanted to protect the brand that they were maybe going to go back to, that's fine. I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily respect the method. I mean, if they had just reached out to us directly, we would have no problem.
Without a question.
Would have changed it. You didn't have to go and immediately bring down the hammer. So that kind of irked me. But in the end, we found a compromise that worked for everyone. So
there we go. Everyone's happy, Adam.
Yeah.
So once that drama was past us in 2013,
that took about a week to get done.
It was one of those things that kind of popped up, and then you have to go through the motions to figure out what's going on and how you responded.
I took probably a day and a half, 2 days before I even responded, just seeking my legal advice. So
Jared did a good job, but I do think it is kind of fun that we have a friend that is an intellectual property copyright type of person who can give us this information.
100% in our corner.
Yeah, she's like, I'll do whatever it takes to help you guys out, and she's a pit bull, so
anecdotally, I think that she probably enjoyed it because I don't think that she gets to do a lot of the intellectual property stuff in her day job as part of. I think she's still at the court. I don't know.
She
whatever
works for a local court, so a local court, Jared.
Yeah, so getting to kind of ply her trade even pro bono is probably a bit of a hoot.
Yeah, it was fun. It's good times. So, Adam, while we were going through all this, you were off on Mr. Vacation Land. Tell us because I haven't talked to you for quite a long time. Of course, we didn't see you at the New Year's Eve party, so that was a bit of a bummer. But why don't you tell us what you did and if there was any excitement or drama or craziness on your big vacation that you often take? I think you go to Mandy's place out.
We usually, usually for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we would go to her parents' place.
Mm-hmm.
But they moved to the middle of nowhere after her
Is
dad.
that still in the state? Or is this out
It's
of
still in North Dakota.
Okay, North Dakota.
But now they're even more remote.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, it was in Fargo, the big city.
Sure.
Can I ask a question about Mandy's parents?
Yes.
Are they pretty conservative? Are they like hyper? Are they liberal? Are they somewhere in the middle? Just because
Probably in the middle.
Dakotas are very, we don't want to pay taxes. We don't want people to mess with their guns. We want to frack. We want to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
We hate abortion, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I would say they're probably in the middle.
Yeah, they represent, a good percentage of the American population. People,
Yes.
I guess. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Centrist.
I think that in a lot.
Centrist,
well,
sure.
we do have
What a dirty word.
conversations with them. Pick a side. We do have conversations with them where it seems like a lot of the political feelings are generational.
Sure.
So like they may be more
Yeah.
conservative on some things, but
Yep.
but not. They're not weird or crazy.
But if everybody can use an iPad, that's great. That brings us all together, right?
Exactly, especially kids. So yeah, they moved. Mandy's dad tried to retire and just didn't like
It didn't
the
stick.
idea of retiring. He's only 58.
Oh, boy.
59.
Wow, what a life, huh?
So, yeah. So he got another CEO type job in the middle of the state.
Marrying some money. I
That's what
love
he's
it.
done for. Well, they're tiny little telecom companies, so I don't think that there's that much money. They're fine though. Whatever. So
Free long distance. Come on.
I mean, that's something we can all get behind. Don't
free,
call 1-800-COLLECT anymore, Adam.
Well, all those telecom companies also have like cable, triple plays. So free cable,
Nice.
free internet.
Move out to North Dakota and take
NFL
care
Red
of
Zone package.
So anyway, so they came to us. We bought a new house, right? So
Yeah.
we're the only ones with a big
I can't wait to
house
see
now.
that house, Jared.
I know. I hear there's a housewarming happening.
I think it's happened already.
You think so?
Adam says it. They're just bad at
No,
planning.
what
but
I
it's
said
not.
was you guys will be invited to the Scope housewarming party.
Oh, I see. Which will never happen. Mandy's always so nice to me in person, but then, behind the scenes, you two must.
It mostly is that she dislikes you. So we almost did come to the New Year's party.
I don't believe that.
We just, because Mandy and Carrie get along really well on Instagram.
Yes,
and,
they do.
And Pinterest and Facebook.
You don't want to spoil that. No,
Right.
we don't want any IRL
Yeah,
interactions.
Let's keep that pure.
Yeah.
shall we?
Anyway, so they came here for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
That was all fine. And then they were going to come here. Well, they did want to come here for Christmas. Anyway, right in the middle of all that, we get a call that Mandy's dad got rushed to the hospital after he was back in at home in the middle of nowhere in North Dakota. And he had an aneurysm.
That's serious business, isn't it?
Yep. So he got rushed to Aberdeen, which is the closest city, which is in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to go across state lines
Okay.
just to get help. Aberdeen doesn't have a hospital with the facilities to handle
An aneurysm.
an aneurysm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jared's only dying over
Yeah, no problem. It's not an aneurysm, so
Yeah.
no big deal. So he had to be airlifted to either Sioux Falls or here to Minneapolis.
Sure. Wow.
And the Aberdeen helicopter was broken.
Oh, boy.
The one. Yeah. So Sioux Falls flew a plane to Aberdeen, a plane, not a helicopter at this point. And then they flew him
I'm assuming
back
it
to
has
Sioux Falls.
vertical takeoff and landing capabilities.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh, yeah.
Harrier jet of some sort.
I bought the toy version of it to play
Excellent.
with while we were in the waiting room.
Smart.
And I was just like,
Smart. Helps you relate to the situation.
exactly. So anyway, that we learned that was happening. No one knew the severity. So
Sure.
we got to go on a nice frantic drive from here in rush hour traffic on a Friday.
Oh, boy.
To Sioux Falls.
How long of a drive is that?
It's like 4 hours.
It's a good jaunt, isn't it?
We're used to the Fargo drive, which is 4 hours also. So it's it's fine. It was just it was more.
It's more of a southerly route. You get on 90.
Yes,
head west.
exactly.
I've
right.
made the drive to Sioux Falls.
Jared knows it. He's a traveler.
And it was mostly me trying to distract Mandy the whole time.
Yeah, because she's obviously super concerned.
Yeah. So we just listened to podcasts and whatever audiobooks. the whole
I could
time.
suggest one.
Could you? Is it going to be in your next week's episode?
It might be.
All right.
Yeah. you
Now,
could-
when I made the drive to Sioux Falls, I listened to the latest from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Hives. I'm assuming you did the same.
Well, that's all that comes in.
Okay.
It's weird. It's like something takes
it's an
over.
all hives.
Yeah.
This was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably early
yeah.
2000s
Yeah.
probably for me. So.
So anyway, we get there, and he's fine.
Sure.
It's weird.
So how
It's
did
like
let me back you up a little
Yeah.
bit. How did he know he was having one?
Well, he was at a business lunch meeting.
Sure.
As CEOs will do.
Right. And it was like a local
Glad handing.
in the
Martinis.
little town. I think the town they live in is like 1,300 people, and so it was like
Oh my
all the
God.
business leaders. So it's like all 20 businesses.
Sure.
Right.
You know, their owners. So they're all just kind of doing.
Is there a
a
local
The North
paper?
Dakota Illuminati.
Right. The Masons.
And they're all just kind of going around in a circle, introducing themselves. And after he had gone, he started sweating a lot, and he noticed like there was a sharp pain in his neck.
Mm.
And he was like, I gotta be excused. I'm sorry. You know, but he didn't realize that's what he tried to say. It all just came out as a slur.
Sure. So
And then he collapsed.
Oh, boy.
So he didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But then, so one of the people there called his wife, said, hey, the ambulance just took your husband to the hospital. You probably want to go too. So she did. She's a nurse.
Mhm.
She wasn't. She's retired now also. But it's an orthopedic nurse.
Mhm.
But anyway, it was nice that, she was able to
Sure.
kind of be there too. So yeah, we get there to Sioux Falls, and he was okay. He was kind of chatting and everything. But they kind of told us that it was going to be basically minimum 10 days
Sure.
before they even knew if he was going to live.
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah. So it's
How do you pass that time? Holy cow.
right. So no one told him that the whole time. So I got there, and so it was a arachnid hemorrhage. That it was, and they call it that because it kind of looks like on like a spider
Sure.
web or a spider itself. I don't know. So it's a bleed in the brain.
Yeah. So do they have to drain it?
They can drain it, but they want to let it drain itself.
So do they use blood thinners like Coumadin, that sort of thing?
They
to-
do, or no, they don't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
The problem is he then developed a clot in his arm, which they had to start giving him Coumadin for to dissolve that because the clot in your upper arm
Yeah.
is really close to your heart.
That'll move in, and that's bad news.
Yeah, so it was about a balance for that. He developed pneumonia while he was there.
Wow.
He had he had a liter of fluid in his lungs.
Oh, boy. It's amazing how much fluid the body can produce.
Yeah.
It's just, where does it come from?
They drained it, and then they just kind of like set it on the counter. And so it's like this gross stuff just sitting
Wow.
there. It was just kind of cool to see, but
Yeah.
it's scary the whole time. And Mandy and her brother, like the whole time they didn't want to like look at prognosis or anything.
Sure.
They couldn't, but I was like, I can't not do that.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it was like 25% of people that get this kind of aneurysm die immediately. 25% die before they make it to the hospital. So you're already 50-50.
Sure.
50% so 25% total have long-lasting cognitive issues in the hospital, and then the other 25% usually live. So, it's great. So anyway, he was in there for 19 days and got out on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Christmas Eve, and then they drove to our place right
Right at a
away.
party.
Yep,
That's to get that special CEO treatment, I guess.
exactly.
So he's
Wow.
pretty much normal at this point,
He's
or is
gotta go-
there rehab type stuff that he has to deal with?
Yeah, he can't go back to work until February.
I would say that would be my cue to retire permanently.
Yeah,
not him.
maybe.
This guy he's a type A personality.
Although
huh?
sometimes when people have serious like health issues like this, maybe retiring isn't the right thing to do. I mean, it seems logically like, oh, you want to take it easy, but
Yeah.
sometimes that's even worse.
You just want to throw yourself into it.
Yeah. I think having something else to kind of have
yeah.
focus is not the word I want to use, but like having something else that's not just you having to lay in bed all the time
Yeah.
is something better to look forward to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so he's gonna have to watch it for a while. Like stress
Sure.
is the main thing.
I was going to say,
that
what's
can-
the cause of something like this?
It doesn't have a specific cause.
It just aneurysms happen. They're a shitty thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's
And
people
anybody
in
can
their
get 'em.
20s that
Yep.
die from aneurysms every day.
Bruce Lee?
Yeah,
Bruce Lee got
Yep.
just gone.
So there's things he can do to help with them, but his dad had one also.
Oh.
So there is a
Didn't know there was a genetic component to
Yeah,
that.
there is. It kind of increases your chances. So Mandy and her brother have to
Yeah.
maybe get screened for that.
You know what would help with Mandy? Having a housewarming party, inviting Jared and me. That would take a lot of stress off.
That would reduce stress?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sure. Women love to plan parties.
They do. It's one of their favorites.
All right, I'll let her know.
Pass it on.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Why not?
But Christmas was probably a little bit more special this year for you guys, just after you go through something like that. And
presents
yeah,
weren't
they
as good.
totally
They sucked. She was.
they totally dropped the ball.
Mandy's mom was stuck in Sioux Falls for the entire month leading up to. So it's like she couldn't even go do any cool shit. It was
wow.
yes. It was. It
There's
was
shopping
really
in
nice.
Sioux Falls. I don't know what her excuse is.
1,300 people, Jared, at their hometown.
No, yeah, Sioux Falls is like maybe 100,000.
city.
Yeah.
Fargo
Big city.
size.
They got a Best Buy. Probably
They
a
do.
couple.
They
got a Walmart.
They have a Best Buy. They have a Walmart and a Target.
I think they have more than one.
No.
Really? That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was helping her.
That surprises me.
Shall we look this up?
Because
No.
she
No
wanted
need to
buy a
confirm.
TV. Yeah, fact checking's dumb.
Yeah. They got a Fleet Farm?
I don't know. Let's assume yes.
Okay.
Well, Jared,
Yeah.
Adam had a pretty exciting, I just popped my pee there, pretty
That's all
exciting.
right.
Embarrassing.
People are used to it.
What about you? What was your vacation all about? You got out of town,
I got out of town.
and it was cold, brother.
I was tracking weather well in advance.
Yeah.
I was seeing temperatures plummeting southward here and heading northward in the area I was headed to, which was Central Florida,
Yes.
outside of Orlando.
Oh.
Yeah, Angela and I got on a plane, and we headed down to her folks have a winter home there, and her grandparents live down there as well.
Yeah, that's smart.
So we made the trip a couple years ago. We made it again this year, and yeah, we headed down there. The trip, the stay there itself was, pretty uneventful.
Completely
We
uneventful.
had 4 days of 80s, and then it dropped
Yeah.
down for Christmas, which was fine.
And
Worked out great for me.
And for the listeners that are listening to this listening podcast, keep in mind
Yeah.
the weather in Minnesota has been extremely cold, averaging, I think, somewhere between 6 and 12 degrees below average. And it's cold in December anyway.
Yep.
So Jared
So it was
got out.
cold and snowy the
Yeah.
entire. I was checking weather while we were
Yeah.
away, and it seemed like it was snowed every day.
Yeah.
It was cold. I didn't miss it. I did not miss it.
You lived it up.
Our big getting out of the house. Most of it was we were just relaxing. Decent weather, hanging out with the dogs. Just
Yeah,
chilling,
staying warm.
We did make a trip to the flea market, what is professed to be the largest flea market in the world. I think it's called Flea World.
Oh.
That's an unfortunate name.
No,
Adam.
that is a fortunate name.
Yeah.
I assume that Flea
jokester.
from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is playing there nonstop.
Obviously,
Everything
yes.
is Red Hot Chili Peppers with Jared this episode.
But this was I had never been to a proper flea market before. This was the real deal. All kinds of cheap Chinese knockoff stuff. If you had a cell phone, I defy you to leave that place without a new case for it. There's about 17 different places you could get one. They would even put it on for you. I saw a woman applying a screen protector to an iPad. Just all kinds of shops, all weird clothes. You could buy furniture.
Really?
They had a pet store there. It was really strange.
You could buy an iPad brand iPad cover, and the
Yeah.
iPad was spelled IPADD.
Yeah. Well,
That kind of
I
thing.
took some photographs that I've been posting on Tumblr and Instagram and
Yeah.
stuff of some of the more interesting products. There was the Super Sharpays.
I love that one. That was my favorite one. Did you see that one, Adam?
These are
yes.
knockoff Sharpie markers.
Yeah, Sharpay.
Yes, Super
They're even
Sharpays.
classier. Super classy.
There's the special shit dry rub for your meats. There's the Colon Blow and Angry Cock hot sauces. All kinds of great stuff.
It's funny that these things
Excuse
are
me.
all previous nicknames for Adam.
I know.
Angry
And then
Cock.
there's the two photos I haven't posted yet, but I will soon. Are
Don't spoil
of
it.
the. You don't want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I'll probably post them before this is out. So
Okay, it'll work out.
there is a combination sports and nerdy card store there called B&K Cards, and their sign is all airbrush art. It features on each side Q as a sports referee. He's got a big whistle.
Q as in
Q from Star Trek: The Next
Very
Generation.
timely sci-fi reference, by
this
the way.
artwork merges Star Trek: The Next Generation and sports. So one side has Q.
Can you tell it's Q?
Yes,
I mean,
you can tell it's
it was
Q.
a really good airbrushing
It's not
job of.
a great Q, but you can tell it's
What's
Q.
the name of that? Something Delancey? Is that
John Delancey. Yeah,
John
something like that.
Delancey?
So it's Q with as a referee.
Mm-hmm.
On one side there is a Borg head, who apparently is also a hockey goalie, and on the other side, let's see, this one was, it was like football in space over planets or something.
Oh, fun.
Other side, another rendering of Q as a goalie with a Ferengi basketball star and the Enterprise flying through a goalpost. Best sign ever.
How was the store? Did you go in?
No. I had no need to go in. I saw the sign. That's all I
Yeah,
needed.
he got it.
I mean, you probably had your standard, crappy first series X-Men action figures and probably
Sure.
some starting lineups.
Probably all the stuff you have in your boxes right under the
Probably.
stairs.
Yeah, I would say yes. So that was that. And then we had some authentic Mexican food, and it was a fun little trip.
What about getting to
Getting there was the interesting part. We had delays both getting there and getting back. Getting back was just your standard, we're too busy type delays.
Sure.
We were delayed, I think in total about 3.5 hours getting back. Poor
And
Shane was
and
on,
I was there anyway.
on retainer to pick us up, and we had to
Nice
keep
guy.
him. But getting there was interesting because we were in Terminal 2 at MSP. And if you were not familiar with local events, there was a bit of a bomb scare the morning we were there. So
exactly when he was there.
we get there nice and early. We have a 7:25 a.m. flight. We're there like 2 hours early, and we're comfortable. We're at our gate, ready to go. And all of a sudden, I noticed that about the midway point in the terminal, people are backing up, like they're not being allowed to proceed. And I couldn't figure out. They didn't announce anything. It was just that people just stopped. So naturally, I get on Twitter.
That's
Get
the
on my
first place
phone.
you go.
And of course, Twitter says, suspicious package. Terminal 2 evacuated. I'm like, well, they didn't evacuate all of us.
Some of us are sitting here.
And eventually, they did start pushing everyone back. Apparently, they had shut down traffic to and from, brought in the bomb squad, and we're seeing our departure time come and go. And they eventually started shoving all of us to the back wall and then eventually into a back corner. Bomb squad came, checked it out. It wasn't anything dangerous, so they eventually let us go. We were delayed because our crew was stuck on a shuttle bus trying to get to the airport, and they had shut down traffic. But turns out, I read the news later after actually getting into Orlando, and somebody had tried to check like I've had conflicting answers, but a propane tank or a camp stove or something of that nature. Southwest said no. And then supposedly she just left it by the trash can and said that her husband would come pick it up.
See you
and
later,
then left,
suckers.
prompting the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's the kind of moronic behavior that can shut down an airport and screw over thousands
it's funny,
of people.
like if you have anything even remotely close to that, wouldn't you like say, you know what, I'm going to call or go online to see if this is an okay thing?
No, we don't need to do that.
People don't. There's a lot of people out there who just don't check ahead.
Right.
They don't have any interest in that.
You know, I say this, and I have traveled with with someone who travels a lot, and we all got stopped in Kentucky because we were all traveling as a group, and he had a clip from a gun in his bag, which is fine to travel with, but it had a bullet in it.
Oh.
And he thought he had emptied the whole clip, and there was no gun.
So why did he need just to bring an empty clip with?
He had just left
Just
it
for
in his
fun?
bag, and he didn't think to remove it because he was like, "Oh, it's that empty one. Who cares? It's like at the bottom of his bag, whatever."
I can't be bothered to reach in all the way and get that out.
I don't ever
leave
bring
that on the kitchen counter.
I'm never bringing anything that's going to give me any sort of attention to those guys ever. I mean, I'll pull out a broken pencil out of there if I have to. Thank you.
So that was my Christmas break.
Did you go to SeaWorld while you were
No, we didn't really do anything.
Go free some orcas.
Here's the thing: is that at her folks' house, we were about an hour outside of Orlando, and so for us to go anywhere, we would have to borrow the car, or we'd have to get someone to drive us.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a pain. The flea market was probably 20 minutes away, so that was a little bit more manageable. I'm hopeful that the next time we go in a couple years, supposedly the Sun line, their light rail line, will be operational sometime this spring. So and there's a station in town, so there's a chance that we'll be able to hop on the train and go somewhere or something. That's cool. But then I have to convince her and her sister and whoever else is there to actually want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is not always. Like I'm more willing. I want to go to some theme parks. A couple years ago we did the Disney World and Epcot, which was fun, but I don't sense a lot of interest in going to like Universal or whatever the other ones are down there. So.
Yeah.
Well, if Carrie and I come with you in 2 years, we'll go. We would hit all of those.
You get those big resident discounts from them going. Don't really go to SeaWorld. They're bad.
Yeah,
it's a bad thing.
I don't have any interest in that.
Well, my vacation, I did not go anywhere that I don't normally do. But before the show started, Jared and Adam were asking me about Audrey and and her Santa Claus situation. Now, Audrey is going to be 9 in just a week,
a few days.
Yeah, it's very soon. And it's getting to the point where Santa is starting to be one of those things where it's more of a burden than
for her,
for us, really.
Yeah.
So you're gonna crack before she does.
So I don't.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if we're going to crack, but Carrie and I have had the discussion where, we'll say it's time. It's sort of time for her to know. A lot of her friends probably know, which I'm surprised they haven't spoiled it for her. And I have told the tale of how she's convinced our neighbor friend, that the Easter Bunny does exist after he didn't believe that he existed. So
she's holding on and she's proselytizing.
Yeah, but the problem is, Jared, is that we in order. We're sort of torn because we don't necessarily want Audrey to hold on to this Santa Claus thing, but we at the same time are creating more and more diabolical myths and legends to try to not spoil it for her in the moment.
Okay.
So it started when Carrie and Audrey and I did some Christmas shopping, and Carrie pulled a quick one on Audrey. She got some wrapping paper. She went to the wrapping paper section with Audrey. She goes, Which wrapping paper do you want Santa Claus to wrap your presents in? I'm like, this is a new one. This is a new one for me.
So Santa makes a delivery, but Mom and Pa still have to wrap it up.
So no, I think what happens is, or at least what Carrie is sort of presenting to Audrey, is that Santa comes.
Yeah.
And while he's here, he wraps the presents and puts them under the tree.
Okay.
Which
can't be bothered to wrap in advance.
Yeah. When I was growing up, it was always Santa Claus had his own wrapping paper. He never had wrapping paper that was the same as any of the other presents we had.
You guys had a nice Hanukkah. Harry does not wrap shit.
Hanukkah Harry doesn't care, and I would be so caught up in the details that if the handwriting on the tags that would say, to Shane from Santa look like one of my parents' handwriting, I would be instantly suspicious.
Wow.
Audrey doesn't really seem to get into that level of detail.
No.
But is
it possible she knows already and just is letting you guys?
She's just playing along for your benefit.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, she went right along with that, which was really strange to me. And by the way, Carrie doesn't make any effort to mask her handwriting, which I think is a huge no-no. But since I'm not the rapper, I don't really care.
And the Santa has a unique schedule with your family, doesn't he?
Yeah. So that's the other thing. Santa Claus comes to our house on Christmas Eve morning. I don't know why we don't wait till Christmas.
Well, he's got the whole world to cover, Shane. He's got to make some deliveries
because
early.
you have a daughter that wants her presents now.
Yeah, which sort of flies in the face of the Santa Claus mythology. I mean, at the very earliest, you're opening your Santa presents on Christmas Eve night.
I think she's just screwing with you guys.
And you guys do something Christmas morning with family, right?
Yeah.
Does Santa also make a secondary delivery there?
No.
Okay.
That was, and I'll tell you, when I was growing up, we sometimes opened presents on because we had a big family. When our family actually talked to each other. So we would get together on Christmas Eve, and most of the time we would open all of our presents on Christmas Eve night. But for me, Santa Claus always had presents for me on Christmas morning. And there were times in some of these big family gatherings where I was the only one opening presents on Christmas morning.
Wow.
There was like a whole bunch of presents, Star Wars toys under the present.
I bet you felt guilty about that, didn't you?
I did feel guilty, but then when I'm opening Slave 1 and I'm opening Boss...
And slowly the guilt just melts away.
Yeah, forget it, you suckers. Santa Claus takes care of his own, right? I guess I'm part of the Claus family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have a number of...
you are white, so...
Yeah, thank you very much.
Possible.
So as Jared was saying, we have a very complex Santa Claus schedule. So I don't know how it's going to play out next year. And the other thing that happened as we were kind of putting away our Christmas gifts the other day is that we save our bags and we reuse a lot of the wrapping because you don't want to be wasteful. So Carrie has this bag that we've used many years, and she takes it and she goes, "Well, this bag we've used this a lot. This is a classic," she said. And then Audrey looks at her and goes, "What are you talking about, Mom? Santa Claus gave that to me."
Whoa, she remembers.
And then we're just like, and we're like, well, sometimes Santa uses more of our wrapping supplies than what you actually see. She's like, oh, okay. And maybe there's like a 2-second pause or something like that, Adam. I don't know why you're watching YouTube videos during my story, but it's insulting to me. It looks like it looks like World Cup to me.
It's a football game.
But so Jared, as to get back to the original point,
yes.
I think that the time is coming sooner rather than later.
Are you going to break it to her in the off season sometime?
Probably. I don't.
Because you probably don't want to do that in like early December and say, hey, you know what? Santa's not real.
Yeah,
doesn't mean you're going to get less presents.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm hoping that some of her friends finally open their big yappers
Yep.
and crush her, so we don't have to.
hoping
She goes back to school Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably when it's going to start happening.
Yeah, I gotta figure.
Someone will have found out this season, and it'll cascade throughout the entire class.
I mean, okay, I have a question for you. This is an honest question.
Yes.
Do you ever question maybe like so? When do you start with Santa? 2 years old? Is that like kind of like when they're?
You do, but I don't think that there's.
When do they start to
There's
understand?
understanding. I would
3,
probably
4?
say 3 to 4 is where kids
So
finally.
do you ever feel like you're lying? Like it's a lie or it's okay? Like it's a like the tooth fairy. It's a white lie.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's a really good question. I don't ever feel guilt about it because I think it is so ingrained in tradition, for at least for me in my life, and
Right.
in millions of people around me. That at the end of the day, they're still getting the goods. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
just it seems like I would worry that then they're at some point they're gonna be like, wait, you lied to me.
What else are you
for-
going to lie about?
Yeah. What's next?
Like, mommy and daddy still love each other. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you even my parents?
Yeah. It's a good question, but this is going to sound sappy, and just is probably going to make Jared's head explode because he's anti-sap. But there's very little magical and sort of mystical things in the world, and around Christmas, it's kind of fun to have that. And the damage that it does is minor compared to what you get out of it. That's what I think. I mean, I'm not permanently damaged because there is no Santa Claus that I know of.
How do you know?
That I know of. And I think Audrey will do just fine. And then you just pull joy out of it in other ways. So there you go.
Can I tell a quick similar story?
Go ahead.
Mandy has 2 nieces. They are maybe 4 and 7, 4 and 6. They live in Ghana for the next 2 years.
Wow.
Almost nobody else can make that sentence.
Yeah.
And be truthful about it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
What a family this guy is going to marry into.
No kidding.
This is crazy.
Oh, she is, yes. One of her cousins.
Didn't flinch.
2 of her cousins are doctors. One of them married a guy from Ghana.
Okay.
They lived here for 5 years, and then she's doing a thing for the U of M in Ghana.
Okay.
So they were like, hey, let's move back to Ghana for 3 years.
Makes
And
sense.
I think they have 2 left. So they were visiting. I think they were here all of December.
Mm-hmm.
Mandy's uncle.
Because what you want to do is leave Ghana and come here for December.
Yeah, exactly. So Mandy's uncle, the little girl's grandfather, I think he looks like Santa Claus, to begin with. So so anyway, the girls were going with their mom, Mandy's cousin, to pick up Rich, their grandpa, at the airport, but they got a call on the way. Yeah, they got a call on the way there that his flight had been delayed.
Uh-oh.
So they were going to turn around.
Somebody tried to check in a can stove.
Yeah. But then a man came up to them in a red suit and a big beard, and he had presents with the 2 girls' names on them.
Crazy.
But he handed them a note that said, Santa had laryngitis and he couldn't talk, but could he get a lift to the old folks' home that's right by their aunt's house?
Okay.
So like the girls the whole time were just like, so they have like a quick 5-minute drive from the airport,
Yeah.
and they're just in the car with Santa Claus.
That'd be pretty
And
exciting.
he has gifts for them with their names on it, so it had to really be Santa Claus.
Well, yeah.
And he couldn't talk the whole time because he had laryngitis. But they dropped him off at the old folks' home. He gave them the gifts, and then about an hour later, one of their other aunts went and picked up their grandpa from the airport.
Wow. So his flight wasn't really delayed.
No, that was him. as Santa Claus. Okay.
Wow.
Play along.
Yes.
I think that
they are 100% convinced.
that's slightly more damaging than the old wrapping paper flim flam that I got going on.
As their mom is telling us the story, the 2 of them are just like, they're like listening the whole time, and they're like into it.
Yeah.
And they're like adding details and everything. So that was like, I thought that was really cute to watch.
Yes.
And then I was like, you're damaging these girls.
Yep, these
You're
girls-
lying to them.
Ruining them for life.
That's why they're going to be demanding really expensive electronics equipment once they find out. Like iPhones, iPads.
They don't have any of that in Ghana.
They don't need
fine.
it.
Yeah.
They just rub a couple sticks together and boom, good to go. Well, guys, the show's running long, but I do have to cover one last thing. This is something we've actually mentioned a few times throughout the past year, and that was our scope New Year's resolution. If you remember that we all promised, we took an oath on the Bible.
What's that?
And we swore that we would go back and rewatch a show or a series. I guess a show and series is the same thing. It's not an or.
Whatever.
And then we would report back what we thought of it and our progress and our results. So let's start with Adam.
Okay.
Do you remember what show you promised back in
Of course.
January of 2013?
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Was it that long ago?
Now, did you promise to watch just the first season, I believe, right?
Yes.
And there's 23 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, and plus a 2-hour movie.
And how many of those episodes did you actually watch?
As you just stated so clearly and elegantly, we had to swear on the Bible,
Oh,
the Holy
right.
Bible. And as you know, maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't
don't-
heard this
no.
before on this episode.
You would think.
The Holy Bible is not a book that I have any sort of allegiance
subscribe to?
Yep.
Okay.
So the last time you did a check-in on this was over the summer, I think.
Yep, probably about 6
I
months
had
ago.
watched 3 episodes then, and I'm happy to announce
Yes.
look at the smirky joy in his
Your
face.
that in the
progress
last
halted
6
there.
months,
Oh.
I have not watched a single additional episode.
Wow. Scott Bakula is going to punch you in the grunt.
You think so?
Yep. Okay, Jared, let's go to you.
Yes.
So you promised to watch one of your favorite shows of all time.
I believe I started with Jason and the Wheeled Warriors, and
Yep.
then I later switched it
switched.
to Parker Lewis Can't Lose, both of which I have seasons 1 on
Yep.
digital versatile disc.
And you have season 2 of Jason the Wheeled Warriors
I
from
do.
me.
I do.
Because I really wanted to inspire you back in
did.
September. I'm like, maybe that'll spur him into his scope responsibilities.
Well, we're going to do new ones for next year, I assume, that we'll actually stick to.
Okay. We'll see. So, Jared,
Yes.
you Parker Lewis, this is a classic late 80s,
Yep.
early 90s show. It's sort of,
Corin Nemec starred.
yeah, it's sort of a,
It's like
Ferris Bueller type of TV show.
in fact, it was on at the same time as the Ferris Bueller TV show
Yes.
and did better.
It did. It sucked it. Punched it right in the gut,
It did.
essentially. Sucked it in its penis, is what I was going to say. So, how many episodes did you watch, Jared?
Shane, I'm happy to announce.
Oh, you're happy to
I'm
announce.
happy to announce that I have watched 0 episodes. I totally forgot.
God, you guys are such dipshits.
I got
we
wrapped
need-
up in like Boardwalk Empire
Well,
and
That's
other
not an
shows.
excuse. You
We
don't-
need reminders throughout the year. Come on.
Okay,
It's an
so,
explanation, not an excuse.
So
I'm a failure. I failed the entire audience.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
I said
I'm
that
sorry,
I would
folks.
go back and watch the Robotech cartoon series, which was my favorite show of all time, or cartoon show of all time. I had never watched the entire thing from front to back, probably since I was 10 years old. And it's 85 episodes, so it was a lot. So I think that I recanted that, and then I said I will only, for at least for this year, I will promise to watch the first part of the series, because it's 3 shows, essentially, that
Yeah.
are tied together. And the first was 36 episodes. And I am happy to report
22 minutes episode? How long?
about 22, about 20 to 22.
Okay.
I am happy to announce that I completed my goal of watching 36 episodes of Robotech: The Macross Saga. I did it on one of my days off where I sat down, watched about 6
Power through.
episodes, and
You're the winner.
thank you very much. I don't know what I'm going to get for it. Probably nothing. You guys are like, whatevs.
Double bitches.
But I will say that the show definitely is better than any 80s cartoon
Okay.
that's out there. I will argue that with anyone. It's got a
Well, I haven't watched any of Jason the Wheeled Warriors recently, so
it's got a coherent story. People live, people die. You see blood. It's
It's like Mortal Kombat.
it's very much like Mortal Kombat. But even still, it does have some issues. Things like simplified storylines. The animations from episode to episode can be very, very good at sometimes, and
Yeah.
very, very bad. And then within the same episodes, you can see that there's 2 animation houses dealing with this. So it varies. But I mean, that's a Japanese thing. That's not an American thing.
It's their fault.
Those Japanese people.
Yep.
But so I think that I'm going to try to continue to watch the next 2, and so at least for me personally, I will try to give the Masters, the Robotech Masters, which is the second part. I think, and it's less episodes. I think it's like 20 something episodes.
okay.
Give that a go. So there we go. My mission's accomplished. No bad mojo in 2014 for me,
You're
jerks.
clearly better than us.
Finally,
Clearly. I
Clearly.
can't believe it was a year ago that we made that promise.
Me either.
isolate that, Jared. Isolate that sound bit you just said. I am clearly better than all of you.
I think I talked over it.
You did not.
Clean.
So there we go, guys.
I think there was a gonk.
A gunk. What is a gunk? That is our 2013 in review, at least our winter months of 2013. Guys, thank you for sharing your story. give my regards
the
to
Winter Wonderland review.
Yes.
Excellent.
So let's take
Longest episode ever.
Let's take a quick break, Jared. We'll be back with Under the Scope coming soon, right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the scope.
Under the Scope.
I like how Tony kind of sounds a little drunk in there.
He does. A little punchy. So Under the Scope, I think that gives us coming soon. By the way, Adam, one thing that is coming soon that we really haven't talked about that much is record cold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're recording this episode, and within a matter of hours, Jared, it is going to be Arctic mega cold front plunging in, some of the coldest weather we've seen here in 20 years.
Yep. Since I've lived here, it has never been this cold.
School will be canceled. They've announced school canceled 4 days ahead of time.
Yep.
It is going to be cold. They're talking record low highs for Monday, the day this episode is released.
Yep.
Where it's 15, 16, possibly 20 below as a high, and that's without wind. So
I've seen 13. I think it's been tempered a bit, but
well,
still cold.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's going to be freezing.
I have no doubt that you're working from home.
I have to work from home. My daughter has the day off,
Right,
so
I think Angela has permission to stay home if she wants to.
Mm-hmm. And what about you?
I also have permission to work from home. There was no indication that our business would be closed, but
will you be working from home?
Very likely, yes.
Adam, what about you?
We follow the schools based on being open, or the office being open or closed.
Yeah.
So
schools are closed, so you're closed.
We're likely to. Well, the office will be closed, but it means if you can telecommute, you
must do it.
So, well, I'll do that. I mean, Tuesday is supposed to be as cold as Monday, so I imagine we're going to wind up with the second day. Maybe they only announced the Monday to get it,
Yeah, well, they said they more than likely will leave the closings to district.
Locals, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Ever since I've moved here, I've
Some
heard
people say we're getting soft, so we can't handle it, Shane.
No, I think this is legitimately cold weather.
I agree.
This is something you can bitch about.
It's not a culture of panic.
A little bit. I mean, I help rile that up. Let's not kid ourselves.
I think it's legitimately. Can't speak today. Legitimately going to be cold, and I think you need to be cautious, especially with children.
5 minutes you can get.
But I
frostbite.
also think that it's you can't do anything about the cold. It's going to be cold regardless. The fact that local media needs to talk about it 24 hours a day is a little ridiculous.
That's more of a sign of our times, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's annoying. That's why I don't
there you
watch
go.
it.
It's annoying. You know what isn't annoying?
What's that?
Stuff that's coming soon in the next month.
Well, that's arguable.
Well, let's see.
We got a bit of a news block. Anyway.
Yeah.
We love cold. It's cold out there, guys. Cold.
Yeah.
Hey, and all you people on the East Coast talking about 0 and above,
yeah.
Shut your face.
Suck it. Bundle up. You got to wear layers, Jared. Breathable layers.
Yes.
Cover
At
up
least
those
we didn't
nose.
get a foot of snow like some people
Yeah.
did, so.
Well, we've had a rough December.
We have.
They can have it.
It's been a bad December.
It has been.
All right.
What's been a long December?
Soon. We've got, that long December is leading us into a January full of just nothing.
Yep, that's what happens, Adam.
Music, we've got the week of January 7th. Peter Gabriel has a new album coming out.
In Your Eyes, right? The sequel.
Yeah, the sequel. And Stephen
In Your
Malcolmus and the Jicks. That's Stephen Malcolmus, the former Pavement lead singer, out with a new album as well. Movies, we've got one new main release or wide release, The Legend of Hercules, starring no one. When does that new 300 movie come out? It must come out.
It seems like
soon,
it's been
right?
delayed.
Oh,
These are all movies that are in theaters January 10th, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff that was a limited release late last year that is now opening, like Her.
I want to see that so bad.
Other stuff.
That's it.
I know there's a number of films that have been in limited release that are opening wide
Oscar
on the
types,
10th.
Jared?
Yes.
Okay.
Oscar types.
Yes.
We're going to go see all those for our Oscar.
I'm sure we will.
Orangutan.
Why wouldn't we?
Let's do it.
All right. DVD and Blu-ray. We have January 7th. We have Big Ass Spider! !
That's all I can find.
That's great.
Anything on Betamax?
and Top of the Lake.
You're telling me it's a dead format?
No, so Top of the Lake
for
is
now.
this movie. It's this miniseries that was played on Sundance Channel here, which I actually have recorded, and it's I think it's like Swedish. It's like one of those, and it stars I think Don Draper's wife from Mad Men, and she
First or second?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
He's on a second wife.
I don't know. I think the first wife.
Really?
I don't know.
January Jones?
No, not January Jones. The other one. She's a brunette.
Okay. Second wife.
And it's kind of like The Killing, where there's a child murder in out in the wilderness, and then She investigates it. She's the investigator, and it's supposed to be very, very
A
good.
lady investigator?
A lady, I know.
She'll never figure
Breaking
it out.
down stereotypes and barriers every day of the week.
We're a sarcastic show, folks.
No, Adam's very serious.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Ladies never solve stuff, as far as I'm aware. Also,
Just the miracle of life. That's all.
All right, that's a fair point. Video games, the exciting Nothing of Note coming out.
Oh, is that
Very
how many?
quiet.
Is that on all platforms?
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay.
actually only for the Wii,
Oh,
not even the Wii U.
is that a musical game?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So from this this bounty of media releases, we need to do a little something called Hit It or Miss It.
Yeah.
And that's where we give our recommendation to either check something out or stay far away from something. And I think this particular week it's in Adam's court. So Adam, what did you pick or miss?
I chose a skip or a miss, whatever we're calling it. Even with all those great entertainment vehicles that I just discussed, there's one that's probably worse than all of them.
Yes.
Though way more popular somehow, and that is the DVD and Blu-ray release of Duck Dynasty's 4th season.
I was exposed to my first minutes of Duck Dynasty over my
Double D.
vacation. I don't get it. I don't get why people like it because to me it feels completely obviously that it's scripted and staged.
Yes.
And that these people are not authentic. So I guess people who like it are okay with that. That's the only conclusion I can draw. So there.
Yeah, I don't get it either. My daughter loves that show.
What?
I think she's very.
I could see how kids
she
would
likes
like it.
sci. I mean, kids can't really discern between the
It's just-
reality and and there are
just-
probably their real personalities probably come through in to some degree in some of these scripted events.
Okay, and in that case, then that Jace guy, he's an asshole.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
So then you've got.
So he's really an asshole, and I feel better about it.
Either he's an asshole or he's playing an asshole.
Yeah.
And why would you want to do that, right? So
It's fine.
I don't know.
Because the checks keep coming in. Shane.
I say, if you saw the deluge of Duck Dynasty merchandise that's out there, and there's a lot of it. This time next year, Duck Dynasty is going to be nothing. That's just my prediction. It's over. This show has.
You're saying we've reached peak duck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Peak duck.
So we will not be having the same conversation.
You
about
think
it.
this
It's like
is
John
related?
and Kate. No, I think that it was. I think that it. The Phil thing doesn't help, but I think just it's the half-life of this show. It was just super saturation, and it was over.
But maybe the Phil thing is going to help and actually make it, entrenched. People are going to.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I don't think it has any effect. I think
doubt
2
it.
months from now, nobody's even talking about that.
Yep. I think. I just think that it's over. That's fine, and we'll move on to something else that's of interest. And
Well, you can buy season 4 on
Yeah.
digital versatile disc.
so get to it. Get right.
But we
there.
recommend you don't.
Adam's picking it, right?
Yeah, it's a
I've never seen the show
It's a hit
before,
it.
so I want to start getting into it. I'm going to start in season 4. I assume.
Well, that's about right.
That's really. It's like sort of like Parks and Rec. You got to jump into it later to really to really see the characters.
I don't want
fully
that
formed.
weirdo from the first 2 seasons that worked with Leslie Knope.
Get him out of there.
To be in there.
All right. So there we go. Coming soon has wrapped up.
It is.
Under the scope.
Yeah, I had another sentence, but that's fine. That's fine.
Did you?
I did.
You paused. Pregnant pause.
Yeah.
I felt like I'd shove a sound baby
I'm
in there.
trying to be more radio. Jared, do we have any comments from our listeners?
You know what? I think our audience also took the month of December off
That's fine.
because for episode 158 we have no comments.
Okay,
0 comments.
There we go.
Not a 1.
So let's encourage them to send in comments on this episode.
You should. You can write in comments at thescopeshow.com. You can call the voicemail line 612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673. It does work. I know it works.
It's not frozen from the
The phone lines
No.
aren't frozen.
phone lines.
Most of our comments are coming in via Facebook recently.
People love Facebook, Jared.
So we have a Facebook
Except kids.
page. We're on Twitter. We're on Tumblr. Those links are all over at thescopeshow.com, right there on the sidebar.
What
We
about
also-
Snapchat?
We're not on Snapchat.
Oh,
I don't
maybe
think
we should.
Can you have a media presence on Snapchat?
We'll be the first.
Breaking it wide open.
Like our show just disappears. Boom. There, gone. Done.
Sounds about right. Some people have requested that we go on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we would do there.
Post pictures.
A lot of junk pictures.
They'd all be the same. They'd be like, "Oh, look, they're in a darkened basement."
Yeah.
Again, why do they do that every time?
Yeah. It's very
So
strange.
each time we use a different filter.
Maybe.
It's all, filter related.
I think I'd be more interested in doing an Instagram if they had like a mechanism for easily signing in and out of accounts, but it's sort of a pain to sign out and sign in. I don't want any.
It's shop talk, Jared. Let's not bring the room down.
Hey, we also have a YouTube channel. You may actually be watching this on YouTube. That is
it's still going, Jared.
YouTube.com/The Scope Show. Do us a favor, like this episode, comment on this episode,
no
subscribe.
Strikes against us, guys.
Share with a friend.
No strikes against us. We're strike free in 2003.
Exactly.
13 summer. No. Damn it.
One of the big things in 2013 is we kind of lost our primary revenue stream, Shane.
We did.
That was our Amazon affiliate. We talked about it. We're not going to go into it again. But if you're interested in financially supporting the show, we have donation links available both on our YouTube channel, right there in the header, or on our website at thescopeshow.com.
Yes.
You can throw a little money our way if you like what we're doing. Helps pay for the equipment, web hosting, Adam's time.
Yeah.
His time is worth it.
It is.
Opportunity cost.
Yes.
I learned that.
We pay for his mileage. What are you going to do? We don't.
Adam is actually watching a college football game right now. He doesn't respect us.
That's all right.
All right.
I got nothing else. I there's something I'd like to plug, but I'm not allowed to plug yet. So I
a little tease.
Not allowed. I can talk to you off air, but
have you told me about what it is already?
I think you know.
Of course I know.
It's not it's a band thing, but I'm not supposed to talk about it until whatever.
Jared is the new touring bassist for Toto.
Oh,
do you know Toto's
Sorry,
back on the road?
I just broke it.
I know.
I broke the
They're
news.
doing a greatest hits tour.
I thought you were going to say Africa.
Well, that's their song.
Yeah.
Not the
Bust the
band.
Rains down in Africa.
All right, gentlemen, we got to let this one go.
Do we have to?
We do. So for Jared and Adam, I am Shane. Thanks for listening and watching, guys. We'll see you next time for more Scope. Take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying, ciao! Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.